Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, I was forced to eat at fancy restaurants for a month. Want a list of all my tasks? Okay. This is not a mistake. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I was forced to eat at fancy restaurants for a month. Many years ago, I got put on a work assignment for months that required me to travel to New York City and stay every Monday to Friday. I was assisting a company manager with a project, and my hotel was near his regular office in the theater district. If you are not familiar, the theater district is heavily built for tourists. Restaurants are generally kind of fancy and expensive. There were really not any quick and cheap options for dining in that area. The company had a generous meal policy of up to $30 to $40 meal for travel expenses. I did use that for a bit, but the food got to feeling too indulgent and kind of ridiculous given it was an extended assignment. Also, I was working really long hours and did not want to go sit in restaurants. I just wanted to go watch TV and sleep in my room. So after the first week or so, I instead went to a grocery store on Monday night. I bought some basics for cereal, sandwiches and snacks, and some frozen meals I could microwave for lunch in the office. It cost about $60. I then took a few cans of soda from my hotel fridge to make room for my weekly food purchase and returned them before checking out at the end of the week. And that was it for food costs, with an occasional meal out here or there. I did the same the next 4 weeks, submitted my expense report at the end of the month. You know where this is going. A lady from accounting called and refused to reimburse my expenses because $60 is more than $40, the max allowance for a meal purchase. I explained that it covered 5 days of food but was told it didn't matter. I then spent the next month trying all the food in the neighborhood. There really were not any cheap options. I went out to eat a few mornings, lunch whenever I found time, and dinner absolutely every day. I could have bought a few installments of groceries, but the once/week shopping convenience was part of why I'd wanted them. It had also seemed wasteful for me to go out for an expensive meal every night for long-term travel, but now I'd been told that was preferred by accounting to my grocery bills. The next month, I got a call from my NYC manager asking how I'd run through more budget every week of the month than the entire month before combined. I explained the grocery situation, and he thanked me and hung up. About 10 minutes later, that same lady from accounting called me to tell me they'd pay my still not reimbursed grocery bill and any going forward as long as the daily amount average for the week was under the aggregate meal allowance. I happily returned to a more reasonable diet. So busy counting the beans, they forgot the soup. It's so common in corpo land. I'm dealing with every department at my office being required to purchase their own med kits currently. Ordered a $200 wall mount box after one of my subordinates was denied a Band-Aid by the facilities group. Left it in my notes for the purchase that OSHA requires an emergency med kit be available. Going to see what happens with that one here tomorrow. In my line of work, we get paid the max per day allowed. If we use it or not, that was up to us. I traveled for almost 3 years straight, so the hotels I stayed in regularly bumped up to the suites with kitchens. I would spend months on the road. When I flew out to assignments, I just buy Tupperware, plastic knife/forks, etc. I ended up getting an additional $300 a week because I'd only spend $100 a week on food. Was the same for me when I had to do some traveling 15-ish years ago. We even had 2 options: just get the daily allowance as defined by labor laws, or put in all meal receipts for a day if the allowance wasn't enough, e.g. in an overpriced area. It was a small company and stuff could always be fixed by talking to people. Company I used to work for had a max dollar amount that could be spent per bottle of wine or booze when entertaining clients. On a night out with a client, my coworkers bought Magnums instead of regular bottles because it cost less per glass. For once in their lives, they were actually trying to be good stewards of the company dime. Guess how that worked out? The accounting rep berated them on the dealing floor. From that moment onward, they spent every moment trying to use the company's policies to screw them over. I'm sure the accounting rep was like, I can't put exceptions in the worksheet. 1 bottle can't exceed the limit. If the cost is over that limit, it gets flagged. There is no menu allowing me to override it due to a group of people. So just follow the rules. We have this on the railroad where I work. If you work 11 hours, the company either has to provide a meal, give you time to go get a meal, or pay you an extra hour overtime, and you expense your meal you get after you get off. Guys wanted to just get a few groceries sometimes. It usually was more than a meal's worth, but cheaper than going out. Company didn't like that, so guys started going out for $40 or $50 meals. The railroad didn't like that, but they wouldn't take any receipt from a grocery store, so that's just the way it is. Want a list of all my tasks? Okay. I created this account, will be a throwaway, just for this as I saw an old file that brought back some unpleasant memories. Random, don't make a video of this. You know that's weird, right? Backstory. I'm a support person working with engineers for very specialized, very large documents. I've got a wide range of skills that one person normally wouldn't have. I also designed the process, format, and everything except content for this one massive 10K pages document spread over hundreds of interconnected files using a specialized software, and trained my team on software and processes for the basically weekly submittals to various entities with the changes. I was the subject matter expert, though not as acknowledged as such because it's just support, not engineering. Let's be honest, some older engineers saw me as a secretary cause of lack of Y chromosome combined with my lack of engineering degree. Back in 2011, a person was added to my group. I felt just to stress me out. Lucy wasn't a manager, but she had authority to assign tasks to me. I think she was efficiency expert or something. She really stressed me out, always pulling me into her office to discuss stuff, and I'd have to speak in plain English about the software I use and program. Nothing fancy as I'm self-taught, more VBA versus C++. But a normal person wouldn't understand a lot of what I did, so the extra effort to explain stuff was annoying. And she constantly talked down to me. Like an elementary school teacher. You know that voice. It may have been because I looked young. One day I even had to say, I'm in my 30s and I've worked here for over 10 years, right? Because she mentioned something about when I was young like you, and was trying to advise me on my new career. She made my life miserable while being fake nice. Onto the malicious compliance. One week, Lucy assigned me to track every single task I did in my week. She wanted all 40 hours accounted for. I tried to push back, but no dice. So I did. Did I mention I had 2 computers, one I used for specific tasks, basically macros, for a specific software? The list had things like meeting with Lucy and Janice 2.5 hours. A variety of rows for saying I answered these questions or top people stuff, most under an hour. And of course, detailed technical steps that she wouldn't understand as she doesn't know the various specialized software 4 to 7 hours each. Coup de grace, make this list 1.5 hours. All in all, I squeezed 55.9 hours into that 40-hour week, which, looking at the list, was a pretty average week. I sent her the list and said, I guess I'm even more efficient than I thought. No response. She disappeared shortly after that. Maybe someone threw water on her. Never did learn why she was there. Or if I did, I blanked it out. I wondered if they were trying to replace me, but I was/am, unfortunately, irreplaceable. I'm still here and she's not. She disappeared shortly after that. Maybe someone threw water on her. I love it. Oh, I didn't get that at first. Melting. I suspect someone realized you were irreplaceable and wanted someone to document your procedures, but rather than ask you what skills were needed or for you to write a procedures document, they sent Lucy to learn it via questions and shadowing. Without realizing that your irreplaceable skills were technical and Lucy couldn't understand your work, thus couldn't document it. Once it became clear she was just wasting your time and company money, she was probably sent elsewhere, possibly outside the company. Good for you. Hopefully, whoever assigned her there was removed as well. This is not a mistake. Last year, I was ordering an upgrade for the server room at work. It was a large, expensive upgrade that cost over $500,000. If you have ever had to call a manufacturer to order equipment at this amount, you may know that once you get a good reputation with a manufacturer, they tend to cut red tape for you to maintain a good working relationship with your company. I in the past have bought equipment for my personal use at home, and it takes forever to get a rep on the phone, and they often screw you on the deal. While I was making the order with the manufacturer, I inquired about getting personal equipment, to see if it would be possible to make a separate order for myself with my own money. The rep had no issues with it and was happy to make the second order. He placed both orders and even gave me a company discount for my order. Now I did make it perfectly clear that the second order was a personal order and not in any way connected to the corporate account or order. He confirmed this and the order was locked. A few months went by and the equipment showed up in the loading dock at work and everything was in order. However, my order never arrived at my house. I attempted to contact the manufacturer, but got put on hold for hours. I gave up for now and figured I would try again in a few days. The next morning, the equipment showed up. It was an exact match for the equipment that was sent to my work. Now keep in mind the order I placed for my house was a blade server that was just over $6,000. This was not what I ordered. I went into panic mode as I can't afford this equipment, and when they bill me, I will be screwed. I checked my bank account and found no charges yet. Now I'm really panicked as now I think they billed it to my company, effectively double charging them. I expect I will get fired. When I returned to work after my weekend, I emailed billing and got a copy of the invoice. Well, they didn't bill my company for the equipment sent to my house. Now I'm really confused. So, at this point I drop it. It is a pain to get them on the phone and I can't call the corporate line when it's a personal order. A month later, I got an invoice in the mail with a late charge for failure to pay. Okay, now I can get this fixed. I see they want $6,000 plus $250 for late charges. That's odd. I called the retention number and got a rep. I gave her the account number and she told me she needed to transfer me to a manager due to the amount. Okay, cool. The manager picks up the phone and I tried to explain the bill is wrong and the equipment they sent wasn't what I ordered, and he immediately cut me off with, "You need to pay the invoice. You're in violation of the contract and we will sue you if you don't pay it immediately." I tried again to explain the equipment issue, but again he cut me off and demanded I pay. So, I told him I would take care of it then. I said sorry for being an inconvenience and I will call my bank right away. I then confirmed the bill amount and the part order number from my equipment labels. He confirmed it and said, "See, there was no mistake." And as I was about to hang up, I know I heard him say in a smug tone to someone else, "That's how you deal with poor less." Called my bank and got them to unblock the transaction. It was stopped for fraud alert. The amount was paid. I am now the owner of a $500,000 server room in my basement. A few months later, I had to order some more connectors for the fiber lines and spoke to their rep again. I inquired about buying personal devices again, since the last time went so well. Apparently, they can't do that anymore. Something about a manager fraud investigation. Can't imagine what that's about. Can't imagine what that's about. It's a mysterious mystery. An enigma wrapped in a riddle wrapped in a mystery wrapped in bacon. I would still be pissed if I got a room full of equipment instead of the one server blade I ordered. Info: is there any performance difference for a single household using a $6,000 server versus a $500,000 server system, other than the power usage? Think you would be able to heat the house in winter no problem, and also run Doom as well. At least 1 million instances. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.